Namaste. Welcome to Sacred Sunday Sadhana. I hope you remembered to set your clock on fire this morning because time isn't real. These are the North Carolina mountains behind me. Little lake, little pond. Center yourself with your breath. Remind yourself how you want to feel and get in alignment with the confidence that allows you to feel what you want to feel. Yesterday was a new moon, and this is an auspicious time of the month. Every time it's the new moon, that time all the way to the full moon, that's when really, I think you'll just notice you have a little more energy and you feel a little more aspiration and trust. From the full moon to the new moon is sort of the opposite. It's a time of feeling kind of stuck, kind of like, all right, this is what's happening. This is what's being illuminated for me. But this is the dark moon, the new moon. And so the day before, the day of, and the day after are really potent times. So you didn't miss it if you didn't celebrate the new moon already. There's still time. And I did something this time that I've never done, and it was just profound for me, so I wanted to share with you. I'm at my mom's cabin in the mountains. This is a school weekend for me, so it's easy to just stay here and then drive into school. I took some dead bamboo that she had in a pot, and I took it outside, and underneath the dark sky, I buried it, and I let the bamboo represent something that I wanted to let go of. And I covered it with leaves and with soil, and I just kind of crouched there for a moment in the quiet night, just breathing. And with every breath, I could actually feel that I really have the intention to let go of that. You know, humans don't change overnight. We can try to make a change, and we take a step forward, and every day we take a step forward. And we take steps back, you know, we stumble backwards, and we just have to be loving and forgiving with ourselves. So if I'm realistic with myself, I know that I haven't truly let this particular habit go for all time. But I've set the intention that it's no longer serving me. It's something that's getting in between me and my authentic truth. It's getting in between me and expressing my full volume of love. So think about, what is it that's keeping you from healing? What is it that's keeping you from expressing yourself the way you want to be seen, the way you want to be heard, the way you want to feel? What is keeping you from feeling the way you want to feel? And it's kind of tricky. You know, you have to spend some time with yourself, and it takes a lot of discipline to know yourself and to be honest about your shortcomings. This particular thing that I buried was having expectations of how people should act towards me. And I'm not talking about, you know, just general kindness or that people should treat you with respect, because absolutely they should. But as hard as it was for me to admit, I realized that there are times when I assume that another person knows how I want to be treated, and I make an expectation of how it's going to be when that person is in presence with me. And then anything short of that becomes, I don't want to say conflict, that's too strong of a word, but it becomes a disappointment. It becomes like, oh, that's not what I thought was going to happen. And that's not okay. That's not right for me, and it's not right for them. So I'm really letting go of setting expectations. And if you've paid attention the last couple of sadhanas, I've been trying to let go of hope, and that's under the guidance of Don Miguel Ruiz and Don Miguel Jr. and Jose Ruiz. Hope is an expectation. So I'm replacing my hope. Instead of, oh, I hope it's a great day. I hope my daughter finds her way in the world. I hope that I'm able to, get out in the sun a few days this week. I hope the weather's right. I have no control over these things. And the hope becomes an expectation that if it's not met, it's really disappointing. And it can be painful. And it's a sense of control. So I know it sounds strange, or it did for me, to think of hope as something negative or hope as something that implies control, but think about it. The way I was hoping was setting expectations. And on the flip side of that coin is worry. So worrying about something is kind of setting an expectation that you're afraid that something's going to happen. Hoping is like, oh, this is what I want to happen. But instead, the freedom getting away from both of those things, are to trust deeply. Just coming into faith in yourself, in your divine connection, in the universe inside of you. So I buried my habit of setting an expectation, even though sometimes, most of the time, when I do it, I'm not doing it on purpose. But this is how we create a new pattern. We have to forge a new groove so that we can behave differently and we don't just fall right back into that habitual tendency. So I encourage you, find out what is it, or what's one of the things. Start where you are. Start small. I recently saw a little GIF that said, small steps are easier than large steps. And it had this ladder with a rung like every 6 inches, and the person was climbing to the top. And then it had this ladder where every rung was a yard apart. Huge steps. And the person was just jumping, trying to grab. And that's so true. We really do much better with small steps. So start with one thing that you're ready to bury and let go of, and go physically plant it in the ground. Put it, if you don't have soil nearby, do you have a potted plant? You've got to have some access to dirt somewhere. And if you don't, go to a park, go to a trail, go to a nature center. Let that thing go, bury it, let it turn into compost, and a new characteristic or a new opportunity can be born for you. So that's something, this new moon energy is letting go of things that no longer work, so that you can call in what it is that you need and want in your life. Remember that we are the author of our own story, and our thoughts become things. And I used to think that when setting intentions, and especially for the new moon, that I could just think and sit under the dark moon and say to the sky and to the universe. And I really felt that connection to the moon, just think, I'm ready for abundance, and I'm ready for my education to get started, and I'm ready for my children to make best friends that stay with them forever, and I'm ready to meet that handsome man that's going to be my best friend and my lover. And I would just speak in human language. The universe not only doesn't speak English, but the universe doesn't speak words. It doesn't speak thoughts. The universe speaks in vibration, and we all have this unique energy vibration that's coming out of us. And it's nothing to do with the thought mind. It's not anything about the manomaya kosha. It's more of an expression of your true self. And rather than hoping and asking for what you hope for, it's getting into that space of confidence and faith and trust that everything is already unfolding exactly as it's supposed to. Even if life has seemed hard for a long time for you, even if you feel like you keep getting stuck, it's unfolding the way it should. And if you're so stuck, what's keeping you stuck? Are you ready to change that pattern? Are you ready to bury that in the ground, cover it up, and let something else grow in its place? Are you? Well, I am. So with this new moon, rather than thinking that I want a garden and bees. You know, I wasn't like thinking about it in words. Instead, I was just feeling. I used my feelings, and I started to feel what I'm going to feel like when I have a garden and bees. I can feel what it's going to feel like when I graduate with my master's degree in Chinese medicine, you know? I can feel what it's going to feel like when 10 years from now, my 16-year-old and I are going to be so close. We're already so close, but we'll both be adults, and we'll both have brains that are fully formed and can make good decisions. I'm feeling how I want to feel. And that feeling, if I had to describe it in words to other humans, would be just a feeling of peace. Like I no longer am in search. I'm not in pursuit of happiness. I'm in pursuit of peace. And within that peace, that's bliss to me. That is so blissful. Peace. It doesn't mean that, you know, things won't come up and that life won't happen. It just means I can feel when I'm in full alignment with my confidence and faith in the universe. I can feel how peaceful that is. And so it's not necessary for me to say, like, I want $1 million in my bank, and I want, you know, a house in Colorado and a house in New Zealand. I don't actually want any of those things. I would love to travel to New Zealand, and I will. I'm not interested in $1 million, but the thing is, what my point is that, like, if we get fixated on the things that we want, the materials that we want, and even the people we want to meet, and the things we want other people to do and to happen, we don't have control over that, and the universe doesn't even speak that language. That's pure ego. The ego is important, and it's for running this body and keeping this body healthy and attractive enough to find a mate, and, you know, driven enough to be organized and to find a career and build a house and not get hit by a car. The ego does all these wonderful human things for the human body. But the being part of us, we are human beings, the being part of us, that speaks in feelings and vibration. You have your own unique vibrational signature. And when you talk to the moon, talk to the universe, when you pray, when you contemplate, when you chant, chanting is my favorite form of releasing my vibration into the universe. When you do these things, it's from a feeling. It's from a feeling. So I think I'll end with that today, but I hope that made sense. And if it didn't, you know how to reach me. You can ask me for clarification. The unique energy vibration inside me sees the unique energy vibration inside you. Namaste.